Hey, welcome back to the Grow Room Diaries. It's finally here. We're going to talk about nutrients. Greenleaf Nutrients MegaCrop is what we used for Tangiland, and although they have a large selection of options, we're only going to be focused on two. I've got some videos and some voiceovers and some pictures of stuff to show you, so let's go ahead and get it started.
For nutrients on this grow, we are using Greenleaf Nutrients MegaCrop 1 part. So what that is the MegaCrop itself and then the bud explosion for flower. Now, I'm a big fan of this. It's probably the simplest, easiest way to go. The only thing I do not like about it with RDWC is that this does have some kelp in it and does have some things that do not quite totally fully dissolve in the water. Not a big deal, just a smidgen of grit that's left around, but it leaves the water brown and makes the roots a little bit brown because of the kelp in it. So, once we are done with this grow, we will be going to the MegaCrop 2 part. It's going to be removing the kelp and the stuff that basically had trouble dissolving into the system, and will keep the roots a lot cleaner looking. Now, this wouldn't really matter if you are a soil grower, but if you are a hydroponic grower, 2 part might be the way to go just for a cleaner water system. Speaking of clean, I do run a sterile system, and I use a few products to help me with that. First things first, I use 34% hydrogen peroxide, and I typically apply this at 5 milliliters a gallon. 3 to 5, it depends on the system. Athena Cleanse. Now, I also use UC Roots, and I actually have both right now. I didn't bring my UC Roots gallon down that I just got delivered, but I have this guy, which is about halfway full, another one that's completely full, and a full UC Roots as well. I would say they're interchangeable. Some people prefer one over the other. I don't really give a shit. They both do the same thing, 3 to 5 milliliters per gallon. And then there's this stuff right here. I use this through the beginning and the middle of the grow, and I taper it off, and get rid of it entirely in the system towards the tail end before flush. But this is a phenomenal cleaner. It also works wonders to keep. It's basically a side, bactericide, fungicide, virusicide. It's a side for pretty much everything you don't want. So really cool. There's also a Xerotol 2.0 product that was not specifically designed for like the horticultural marijuana bullshit. The main difference is it's got more hydrogen peroxide and a little bit more of the active ingredient, but it's not really necessary, especially if you're doing all of this appropriately.
Okay, guys, the moment you've been waiting for. Here is the feeding chart. Two things I want to point out to you is that there is 1 week of seedling that is unaccounted for in this chart, where you will have to choose what you want to do as far as adding ingredients. I normally find that absolutely nothing or nearly nothing, in other words, maybe just putting like 0.1 grams of MegaCrop in per gallon of water, kind of uselessness. But that's thing number one. And thing number two, part two, ignore that. That was a little hot for my plants. It might be perfect for yours, but this is just a foundation. You're gonna have to, on all of this stuff, adjust to be perfect to you. This is just a base. Keep in mind, Greenleaf Nutrients does have a feeding calculator on their website, and the back of the bags are all going to have a bunch of feeding information. Plus, you won't have a hard time finding a chart like this to start off with. So go out there, get all the information, make up a couple of quick little written down charts based off of what you find, maybe even hybridize them to come up with kind of an average, and then start from there. Whatever you need to do to get yourself started, just be cautious to ramp it up. And let's talk about that actually. Now, all of these images can be found on Google with the right searches, but keeping in mind that soil and hydro have some pH requirements is a very important thing, and the first thing that you should be investigating with your grow to make sure that you're within the proper range so that the largest majority of nutrients is available to you at all times. While you're doing your searches, you'll find something referenced called a VPD chart. It's basically just a chart that tries to tell you where to aim for on humidity based on temperature. What I will tell you with all of this is that some of these will be slightly conflicting, and quite frankly, you're not going to be perfect on this to starting off. So if you have to aim anywhere with your humidity, aim low. If you're going to be anywhere compared to the chart, be below it, not above it on humidity. Very difficult to grow mold. Blech, if I could speak today, it's very difficult to grow mold if you're on the lower side of the VPD chart. Now look, your plant is going to tell you where you are messing up. There are a ton of resources available to you online, social media, places like Facebook or Reddit, where you have a large group of people who have all, you know, started the growing process and are currently at some stage of development, be it still a beginner or an expert commercial grower. But these people do communicate with each other and will help you to kind of decipher the language of the plant. Of course, you're going to get some bullshit out there, people with some bad attitudes, but there's always going to be people there willing to help and with good advice. Here are some pictures basically that'll kind of give you a generalized idea of what's going on with your plant. It's very easy to become confused and overwhelmed by this. I wouldn't, again, treat this like it's something you have to know in and out right out of the gate. You're just not going to be able to put all of that on your plate. Focus on establishing your routines and getting your parameters in check. And when you have problems with plants, take a picture of it, throw it up online somewhere and say, hey, what do I need to do? What's going on? So again, here's a couple of charts, one from a friend of mine and one from me, and just something that you can observe and see that there's little differences between our charts and the way that we do things. And I continually amend my chart as well based on what I have in front of me. But yeah, guys, thanks for stopping in. I hope I answered most of your questions. If there's anything I haven't addressed that you were hoping for in this video, please let me know below, and I will take the time to address it directly and try to give you the appropriate information or whatever is missing, or, you know, hopefully nothing, but anything that's maybe bad information that I've provided. Other than that, thank you for stopping by here, and we will see you guys in the next video.